I didn't I I didn't realize that the group had split up into two. So I saw Mallory in her group, and I automatically assumed I was in that one, and I'm not. So apparently I am the group leader. So
Oh, sorry that got thrown on you.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize because I'm not an observant person, I guess. So I can do group leading. I'll delegate, and we'll go through the questions and stuff. Does one of you want to submit? And do you guys hear that?
Sorry, repeat.
Okay. Does one of you want to submit our assignment, and one of you want to do a summary, and I'll delegate, and we'll have covered all the stuff that we got to cover?
I can do that. Just what do I need to... What should I be writing down? That's what I'm trying to find now.
Okay, so if you go into where we found the video, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go into that, underneath that, kind of where I'm going to be going with the questions, like to facilitate our discussion. Maybe my computer will work with me.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, yeah. Do the following
so down there. Yeah, so those kinds of things. So the things that we talk about, you're basically just going to take minutes of what we talk about,
okay.
And then we'll put it. You can just put it like in not worthy.
Summary form.
Yeah, summary. Thank you. Not worthy. I don't know where that came from.
You're fine.
All right, so I can be the team person, and then also this will the video that we're doing, that we're recording, that we have to post on there. It's gonna just go to my YouTube channel, which is because it's hooked up to my Gmail. So I can post that, and then if you want to send the summary to Hannah, and Hannah can submit it with all our names on it, we'll be covered.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect.
All right, cool. All right, we can get started then.
Let's see, I am just getting this into a Word document.
Perfect. Okay. And I will just periodically keep checking for Tyson and other person in our group. In case.
Okay.
Alright. So I didn't watch the video, but I read the transcription because I'm just better if I read rather than if I watch.
They talk so much slower than you could just read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kills me.
It kills me too. Plus, when I was listening to it, I just thought he sounded kind of weird. That was.
Yeah.
Okay, has anybody had him as a teacher?
No.
Okay, I can't handle him.
Wait, the guy that did the session is a teacher there?
Yeah, in Rexburg, and I had him my first semester at school, and I hated it. I changed majors, and then I changed back later, but still, like.
What did he teach?
The guy who did the therapy session is a teacher?
Yeah.
Oh no, I felt bad.
I know, I saw it, and I was like, dang it. Yeah, he was my teacher for whatever, it's like Family 100, like the first most basic one. And I couldn't stand him. I hated the class, and I ended up going to child development.
Oh. And then switching back.
And then switching back because we moved and I had to go online.
I understand.
But still.
Well, in that case.
Yeah, transcription is better.
Yeah, I like the transcription.
Yeah.
All right, so as far as it goes, pretty much the summary is that they came in because of the brother. But I think for me, I can just start off kind of what my thoughts were. I felt like as we were going through it, there were a lot more problems than just the son, and he was kind of the scapegoat. Like, it seemed like the mom and dad were disconnected. The sister was kind of being more of a parent than the dad was. There were this weird relationship between the brother and the sister and the mom and the son, and like all this stuff was going on. And he did like a really good job of bringing that to light, like without being like, yo, y'all are messed up.
So. Yeah, that's true.
So that was some of my thoughts were that, like, because one of the things it talks about in chapter 6 is being able to create a comfortable environment for your people that you're therapying. So, like, he asked them a lot of questions, and he, like, tried to help them feel comfortable. And he was like, you know, so, yes, skateboarding, yeah, so you skateboard, and what do you do? Oh, you know, you're still in high school, and he, like, got to know a little bit about them. I think that's smart because not only did he put him at ease, like, make him feel comfortable, but he also got a lot of background to be able to figure out, like, when things got all skewampus in their family, why it wasn't the norm, because he could kind of establish, like, a baseline. So that was, I thought those were some good things that he did. That followed along with chapter 6, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he, like, was really good about asking the right questions, because it just felt like, I don't know, he felt like he was like probing, like trying to figure out, but at the same time he was like making it really comfortable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
He was like trying to joke, but they were like really weird, awkward jokes. And I was like, I guess I could understand if I was like in that situation, like trying to joke around, like they wouldn't be funny. But still, I don't know, trying to make it a light situation, like you were saying, like a comfortable environment, like.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end they were talking about how nervous they were to come, which, I mean, they have rights to be nervous about it, but by the end they were really happy because of in the end they like learned more about each other because of the way he was asking his questions and the way he was, and also like relating to them and like being like, oh yeah, like my kid did that, you know, like.
Yeah.
Or, like being like, oh yeah, I'd probably be terrible at skateboarding, you know, like trying to at least put himself in their shoes and like being really empathetic and like understanding all their situations. Like I thought he did a really good job about that.
I agree with completely. I think that listening to him talk to the son, who like seems very like they were kind of mean to him.
Oh, I know.
That was me growing up, kind of like, and I just kind of felt for him, like, in that situation where they were pretty much all, like, except the dad, you know, like, it's his fault, we're here because of him, you know, that's it.
Basically,
and
yeah.
I think, whatever his name is, the therapist, he did a great job at kind of making the son feel validated, I guess, for like his hobbies and skateboarding, when obviously his family doesn't like his hobbies, doesn't take an interest, and sometimes that's what you need as a kid, is like for your parents to just take an interest, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But and I think he did a really good job at just bringing them together and not, how do I put this? Not placing blame, I guess, not saying like, oh, well, you're here because of the sun, like, let's focus on you because you're trouble, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like, not pointing him out specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also thought that, like, when they were talking about, like, when they were starting to get down to the main root of the problem, the dad mentioned that, like, his parents were never really involved. They didn't really, like, help him, you know, as far as, like, they weren't involved in their grandchildren's lives, and they weren't really, like, focused as far as, like, he was like, so what are you doing with your life right now? And he's like, oh, you know, like, skateboarding. Nothing really. But his dad was like,
like, I'd be mad.
Yeah. His dad was like, we used to talk about that stuff, but we don't really anymore. So his dad was kind of picking up on some parenting habits that he had learned as a child, because his parents were never really involved.
Interesting. How should I word that? I definitely want to write that down.
So probably just like, we noticed that the parents, or more specifically the father of the son, had picked up some permissive parenting styles from his parents and was like implementing them with his son because he wasn't finding out, you know, what he needed and like working with him on, you know, his hobbies or his goals and things like that. They just didn't talk as much anymore, I think.
Nice. Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah. That's everyone.
All right, so they want to know, so they said talk about the points that you identified, both the overt references and the more subtle ones. So in other words, what did we see that was like really out there, like stuff they brought up, and then stuff that we just kind of saw that went a little bit deeper as far as their family dynamics went.
Well, like we mentioned earlier, I guess I haven't written this one down yet, but the daughter was.
Oh yeah.
When I read all this, I start like thinking, like making judgments on the family. I'm like, she is way too like. She's
overbearing,
involved. Like she was almost taking my father's place as like the I don't know, like psycho parent almost. But I'll write that better.
But I think the therapist. Oh, go ahead. Hannah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that they like talked about how she was so overbearing. Like, I mean, she was super overbearing of the character, but like, like you were about. I feel like you were about to say like the therapist like did a really good job of like not making her feel like it was her. Like you need to back off, like just letting her know what her feelings were, and like trying to help her communicate her feelings better to her brother. Because, like, I know the last bit of the interview was just basically like, yeah, I should probably, like, not tattle on my brother as much.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
Like, you're a parent, you're not a kid. You're
like, you take the chance to be a friend and not a parent to your own siblings.
Yeah. And I also liked how, like, and another thing was, like, how worried the mother was. And, like, talking about how dangerous, like, the bear was. Like, the mom bear is the most dangerous of them all. And I just thought it was interesting how the therapist was bringing out the point that your parents are just worried about you. Like, they're just trying to show their love for you, even though it's not the best way of communication because you don't understand it, obviously. But they're just trying to be loving parents, but at the same time, like, it's just, they're just not getting it across.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So I read the transcription, but I kind of started to space out, But, I mean, the therapist, he did a lot of just listening and, like, getting them to talk, not as much like, well, this is exactly what you need to do, but getting them to open up so that those lines of communication are open in the future, And they kind of see each other's concerns, and that gives you the ability to fix it later, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the therapist was really good at reframing. So, like, they would say something like...
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They would say something like, I would leave the house because I just didn't feel like anybody wanted me around. And he was able to put it in words where he said the same thing that the son said, but the parents could actually tell how the son felt. Like, so what you're saying is that when your parents don't ask you about what you're doing, or they don't really look for you, or things like that, or they don't really make you feel like you don't really feel like you're a part of things, so you'd rather just not be there. And the son's like, oh yeah, that is what I'm saying. Like, I didn't know that was what I was saying, but yeah, that's how I feel. So reframing it so that he could kind of understand where he was at with his emotions, and the parents out loud, so they could be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like that can? I mean, like, this isn't totally on topic, but, like, do you feel like that can kind of be dangerous as a therapist to, like, you're almost putting thoughts into people's heads if you think about it. Like, you have the ability to say, like, oh, so what you're saying is, and then, I don't know, like...
Yeah, I think...
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. It is a little bit scary. I think that you have to know your audience, because if you're with somebody who is going to be volatile in a family situation, and they're going to say things that are going to hurt other family members and make the session like just I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but,
I guess.
And not effective, then it's probably smart to be able to know how to reframe those things. Or if you have, like, in this situation, it was kind of like no one really wanted to say what the problem was, and everyone was kind of like, there's an elephant in the room. And he kind of just brought that out really slowly by helping them reframe what they said. But yeah, I mean, it could be dangerous. True. I think you have to be careful about the way you do it.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And I also, like, I thought it was really interesting how he was, like, trying to set them up for the future. Like, he was like, you're gonna not, you can't have a million sessions with me to figure out all your problems. So I'm gonna, like, try and help you to, like, learn how to communicate more effectively, and, like, especially when he was talking about them having dates, like, having the parents go on a date, and then maybe having son on father dates, and having the son and the daughter like hang out with each other every once in a while so that they can effectively communicate, and like trying to make a plan so that they can be better about it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of like some proactive methods and things they could use to in the future. Because I like what Jessica said about like they were opening communication lines. So like the next time they run into this problem, they can be like, oh, so right now you're feeling really hurt.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that's a problem with therapy is that, I mean, I guess we kind of get in this mindset that, you know, you talk about it when you're there and then it's fixed. But that's not the case. And that's what I love about this class and about the cognitive behavioral therapy is, like, that seems super effective. Like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, I use those mood logs now. I mean, I'm, like, super pregnant, so I'm very emotional. But, like, I take that out and I'll look at it and sometimes don't even fill it out, but I'll just think, like, okay, how true is this? And then it's like, boom, fixed, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, like, that is, like, therapists need to be giving us the tools to improve and not just saying, like, this is where you talk, you know?
Yeah.
I think that he did a good job with that.
I like that he facilitated the healing of the family and didn't just, like, I don't know, like, he didn't just give them the answers to their problems. He helped them learn how to fix it on their own, kind of like what you were saying. So I think probably, like, as far as the summary goes, Jessica, some of the overt things that we've talked about were, like, the different relationships that were between all of the different participants of the session.
Yeah.
And, like, the things we talked about with, like, the son and the therapist and the ways that he did things. And then the more subtle ones, I got that mixed up. Those are the subtle ones. The overt ones were the things that were brought up in the actual transcript, the problems they mentioned and things like that.
Yeah.
So in the writing the summary.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. I'm good with that one. I got a lot written down, and I'll organize it later. But
okay.
Yeah.
If you want to, Jessica, if it's easier, you can put it in a Google Doc, and then Hannah and I can edit and help with it so that it's like.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll do that after. My computer's being kind of weird. I'm kind of like afraid to move anything around, you know.
Oh yeah. I know how that
I'm
goes.
sorry.
But I will do that right. I'll do that soon after we finish, and then we can work on it throughout the next 2 days or whatever.
All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Good. Perfect. All right. So it says, note the trends of your findings as a group. Did everyone identify the same points, or were there points that not everyone caught? So what do you think about that, Hannah?
Wait, really quick, back to the first one. What would you put for overt again?
So overt were the ones that were in the transcript. So the problems he brought up, like, oh, so the son feels left out and hurt, just those problems. And then the subtle ones were the ones that we kind of discussed were kind of hidden inside of it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, continue.
Your question. I don't know. I feel like we kind of are all on the same page regarding it, because there is a lot of things that you can read into on the transcript. I mean, like, in the session overall, like, you can read a lot of the things that he's doing, the communication that's happening between the family. Like, the family might not be able to see it at first, but I feel like overall we kind of do have, like, the same points in it. I don't know. There was not really any points that really caught me off guard. Were there any for you guys?
Nah.
No, I felt like you were pretty well integrated as far as things went, and I think it's because of, like, all the models and things that we've been learning about. Like, it fits in, and we can kind of see, and it just makes a difference. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
Now entering a safe area.
I think someone has an echo or something.
I know, I'm trying to figure out what that's coming from.
It's probably me, because my husband's in the background. So
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally
Don't worry
fine.
about it.
Are you Chinese?
I just was really
No,
confused.
please. Maybe not Jack. I love you.
1 second. Follow me along.
I don't know. Is there any more thoughts on that point?
Well, what should I write for it? I mean, I can't just put yeah, we agree. You know.
That's true.
I think we can though. I think we can just say, you know, we pretty much all agreed on the same points. Some of us brought up others that like maybe we hadn't all seen, but we could see the connection. So like we brought up new points, but they were valid points and
Yeah.
they made sense, and they kind of went together. And
yeah, that sounds good.
yeah, just like we collaborated together and it made sense. There wasn't anything that caught us off guard or anything that we couldn't explain. I think would be good
Yeah.
to say.
Okay.
All right. Talk about your observations. Was anyone surprised by the findings or the observations?
I think what surprised me was how the family acted in the beginning. Like, they were just very aggressive towards Jim.
I feel like there were problems.
Yeah, and at first, you know, they're starting off, like, because I actually watched the video to start off, and then, like, oh, they were a little uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, I wonder why they're here, you know? And then, like, flat out, the daughter was just like, it's because of Jim. We're here for him.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, okay.
I
A little
see
aggressive.
that thing, and I think like, well, I wouldn't be home either. You know, like obviously, like this is not good. I don't know.
Yeah, but it surprised me. Like I guess I didn't see it at first, you know, and that was like one of the things that surprised me. But I was really relieved in the end how I felt like they got at least a good amount of the communication issues out of the way. Like obviously there's still problems that they need to figure out, but it was nice in the end to at least know, like, because I was curious, like I was watching and I was just like, are they actually going to resolve all these problems? Like, they're going to get solved?
I'm just gonna walk around them all night. Yeah.
Yeah, just watch them every night, you know? That's the solution. But yeah, and I guess it just made me a little more relaxed. That I was like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be fine because they're gonna get through this. But I kind of wish I knew how it all ended up, like in the very end.
I mean, I know that like we can, you know, change our nature and stuff, but I see therapy and I'm like very doubtful. I don't know, like I don't know. It's hard, but I don't know. Hopefully they're better off.
I've seen therapy do like a lot of good things, so I have a good faith in therapy. I think it really depends on the therapist. I think it really depends on if you're willing to accept the help, because you have to. You have to be willing to be there and be there for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think it's very common that, I mean, it kind of sounded in the beginning like the dad was kind of like, I don't know why we're even here.
Yeah, and that's not a good way to go into therapy.
Yeah, nothing's
supportive.
Change unless everybody wants to see improvement. And I don't know, like that's why I was kind of doubtful about this family, as I was like, he doesn't care. Like he's saying like, oh, it's normal for my son to be like this, and that's that. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where my son is at all hours of the night. Whatever, it's chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. So probably something that surprised me was like how the mom, like towards the beginning and the middle, she was just kind of like, yeah, and she would like answer very sporadically, but not very much, and she didn't expound. And in the end, she was like, it drives me crazy, and blah, 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 and she like freaked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is what we've been waiting to see, because you could tell it was building up like that, but she didn't like say anything because she didn't want to be that mom, but then she wasn't.
Yeah. How did I don't really remember. Like, did the dad start saying? Sorry, hiccups. Did the dad start saying more, or how did he?
Yeah. So what kind of happened was like the therapist was kind of like nonchalantly making some suggestions about like, so you know, when your wife gets upset, that makes you upset because you love your wife, right?
Right.
He's like, well, yeah, I do. And like saying that out loud was kind of like, oh, well, yeah, I do love my wife. That would upset me. Yeah, you're right. You know, that does make sense. And then he started opening up more, and then he was like, well, you know, if you can understand that this is how your mom feels, and then this is how your dad feels, can you understand, you know, why? And he like asked these questions that were good understanding comprehension questions that made the dad kind of go, yeah, you're right. You know, I'm not as involved as I should be. I'm not really taking care of my wife. I'm not really supporting her the way that I should as a parent.
Interesting.
And so it kind of opened him up.
Nice. Okay. Good. All right. Yeah, there was nothing else that surprised me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But how about you guys? Anything else?
I think that was it.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything else as far as like things that surprised me.
Nice.
Discuss and record how a treatment professional or paraprofessional might prepare to capitalize on such opportunities to introduce or reinforce types of resiliency factors from the Walsh article. So we kind of already been talking about that, like he was really, really good at setting a good, calm environment. He was good about like reframing their questions. He was good about asking questions that kind of got them to open up and things.
Yeah.
He was really good about structuring the discussion so that it wasn't like attackful and like people were just blaming each other and not really getting to the bottom of their problems. I thought that he set it up really well, and it was a really well able. So I think as far as like setting it up and stuff, that would be what you would need to do, is like setting it up in that kind of environment and delegating and facilitating discussion that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just think of like the reason why I think people go to therapy is like you find that you can't have the conversation at home. Like, I mean, growing up, like I grew up in a pretty like broken household, and I just remember like we would just scream. Like nothing would like you wouldn't talk about anything. You would just be like, you did this and you did this, and I think like how awesome is that he was able to turn the conversation from like, I'm sure that it would have ended up like a screaming match or just very negative, but he was able to really like help them all feel heard and understand what the rest of the family needed, you know.
It's true. There is like nothing stronger in therapy than validation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true, because that's what you're missing in those arguments at home is, you know, you're just wanting so badly for someone to say like, man, that would be hard, you know.
Yeah, you're right. I feel what you feel. Yeah, I understand what you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, and I, you know, if you like, I remember it was saying like, oh, this is not scripted, or like he didn't plan for anything that he said. But I, like you were saying, like the way he set it up, it was just perfectly. He was able, and like you can tell that he was a professional, just with how he was able to word things, and how he switched between listening and talking. Because he would like listen strongly, and like validate, as you were saying, and then he would be like, okay, well now I'm going to say this and reframe the question and talk about, you know, maybe make it a personal connection with my life, or, you know, kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice.
I think it's similar to like I teach a marriage class. I'm not a therapist, but I teach a marriage class. And I think it's very similar to like before you start teaching, you have an idea of how you want things to go. Like you have, you know, I really want them to feel welcome. I want to kind of introduce myself so they know a little bit about me, so they're more comfortable with me. I want them to introduce themselves a little bit so they feel a little more comfortable and we get into some deeper things. I want to ask some questions here and kind of do this. Like you have kind of a where you want to go with it, but then as you get into it, people start talking to you. You have to be able to run with what you know and go off what they're saying, and then it's going to go a completely different direction, because even if you have a plan, it's going to change depending on what they say and what their experiences are.
Yeah, and just personalities. I mean, you could tell like that was a perfect example, the one we just watched, because they were all so different, you know, like the daughter was very, you know, active in the conversation, and the son was kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, that was interesting to see.
And it was also interesting that they did speak up when it was like personally relevant to them. Like when they were like, oh yeah, you know, you're right, that's really validating, you know, or that really makes sense, or yeah, I really would like to address that. Like then they really spoke up a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the son was a lot like that, because a lot of his words were, yeah, I guess, until it was something like he actually like was like, oh yeah, and like had something to say towards that.
Yeah.
It actually meant something to him. But that was like the therapist was really professional in that way, because he was able to like know what the right questions to ask, judging like off the son's character.
That's very true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, like he almost was able to like change his personality to like make the son feel included, you know, like, oh, skating, you know, just like taking interest in his hobbies, and I don't know, kind of like trying to be funny, which was total flop, but like
it was a good try though.
We tried.
I think that probably being able to laugh at him, like when he made those dorky jokes, was probably why he did that in the first place. I don't think his jokes were
I think
that on purpose. I think he did that so you'd laugh at him.
You're spot. That is spot on. I think of like my husband. He's really easy to talk to because he's like very silly and like, you know, like laughs at himself, makes stupid jokes, and it's kind of like, oh, you're not intimidating at all, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how he made himself come across.
Yeah, because if he hadn't, then it probably would have been a lot more of a different atmosphere, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, it said for the last 15 minutes that we just kind of discussed the summary, so we can either discuss it here or we can get on a Google Doc and just kind of help each other and type in ideas and stuff, and then when it's ready, and Hannah can submit it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever works best for you guys.
Yeah, I'll right now I will it'd be good if I could get off this now, my phone is dying, but
yeah.
But yeah, I can email it to you guys right now so that you have access to it, and then we can work on it.
All right, and then
feel free to add anything that I missed or take anything out. I don't really care.
All right, and Hannah, I will email you the YouTube link so that you can put it in there when you submit it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, perfect. Go team.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.